A federal judge delivered a blow to the Trump administration's immigration policy. Judge James Boasberg temporarily blocked a controversial plan. The plan sought to deport migrants using the Alien Enemies Act. This act, dating back to 1798, grants the president broad powers. He can detain and deport non-citizens during times of war. The judge's ruling halts the immediate deportation of numerous individuals. The Justice Department, under the direction of the Trump administration, immediately appealed the decision. They argue the Alien Enemies Act is a vital tool. It protects national security, they say. However, Judge Boasberg's ruling casts doubt on this claim. This sets the stage for a legal battle with potential consequences. The case centers around the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. The Trump administration designates them as a terrorist organization. They cite the gang's involvement in drug trafficking, extortion, and human smuggling. The judge's skepticism highlights the complexities of the case. Judge Boasberg's ruling is far-reaching. It affects all non-citizens in U.S. custody. These individuals are subject to Trump's proclamation invoking the Alien Enemies Act. This includes those accused of ties to Tren de Aragua. It also encompasses individuals linked to other groups deemed threatening by the administration. The judge's decision cited the irreparable harm of deportation. He argued that being sent back to their home countries could put these individuals in danger. They could face persecution or even death. Boasberg emphasized the importance of due process. He stressed that individuals, even those accused of crimes, deserve a fair hearing. This temporary restraining order is in effect for 14 days. During this time, the Justice Department can appeal. However, the judge's initial ruling signals doubt. He seems unconvinced by the administration's arguments. The White House reacted swiftly to Judge Boasberg's decision. They expressed strong disapproval and vowed to fight the ruling. They maintain their stance that the Alien Enemies Act is crucial. They argue it is necessary to protect American citizens from dangerous individuals. The administration points to Tren de Aragua's designation as a foreign terrorist organization. They highlight the group's alleged involvement in violence and organized crime. They argue that these activities, particularly along the U.S.-Mexico border, constitute a threat to national security. Furthermore, the White House emphasizes the gang's alleged use of irregular warfare. They claim Tren de Aragua employs tactics designed to instill fear and disrupt societal order. Despite the White House's strong defense, legal experts remain divided. Some believe the administration has overstepped its authority. Others, however, believe the president has broad discretion. Section 4. A History of the Alien Enemies Act. The Alien Enemies Act, passed in 1798, is a relic of a bygone era. It has been invoked sparingly throughout American history. Its use has often been controversial, raising serious questions about civil liberties. The act was first used during World War I. It allowed the government to detain and deport citizens of nations at war with the United States. This included German immigrants living in America. The act was invoked again during World War II. This time, it targeted individuals of Japanese, German, and Italian descent. The act was used to justify the forced internment of over 120,000 Japanese Americans. The Trump administration's attempt to use the Alien Enemies Act marks the third time in history. Critics argue that the act is outdated and incompatible with modern legal standards. Section 5. The ACLU steps in. The American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, wasted no time in challenging the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act. They filed a lawsuit arguing that the act is being misapplied in this case. The ACLU contends that Tren de Aragua, while undoubtedly involved in criminal activity, does not pose the kind of threat that would warrant invoking this powerful law. The ACLU's lawsuit centers around the definition of invasion. The Alien Enemies Act explicitly states that it can only be used during times of war or when there is an invasion by a foreign power. The ACLU argues that the gang's activities, while deplorable, do not constitute an invasion as defined by the law. They further argue that the Trump administration is using the act as a pretext to target immigrants. The ACLU's involvement in the case injects a powerful voice into the legal battle. Known for its staunch defense of civil liberties, the ACLU's challenge is likely to be the first of many. Section 6. What's next? The legal battle over the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act is far from over. Judge Boasberg's temporary restraining order is just the first step in what is likely to be a long and arduous legal process. The Justice Department has already appealed the ruling, setting the stage for a showdown in a higher court. The next crucial step in the case is a hearing scheduled later this month. During this hearing, both sides will have the opportunity to present their arguments before Judge Boasberg. The Justice Department will likely argue that the Alien Enemies Act is necessary to protect national security, while the ACLU will likely counter that the act is being misapplied. The outcome of this hearing will have significant implications for the future of the case. If Judge Boasberg upholds his temporary restraining order, it would deal a major blow to the Trump administration's efforts. Conversely, if the judge sides with the Justice Department, it would clear the way for the administration to move forward with its controversial plan. Section 7. A case with far-reaching implications. The legal challenge to the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act is not just about the fate of a few individuals facing deportation. This case has far-reaching implications, potentially impacting the lives of countless immigrants and shaping the very fabric of American society. At its core, this case is about the balance between national security and individual rights. The Trump administration argues that it needs broad authority to protect the nation from threats, even if it means curtailing certain liberties. Opponents counter that such an approach undermines the very principles of freedom and justice that the United States is built upon. The outcome of this case could have a chilling effect on immigrant communities. If the Trump administration prevails, it could embolden the government to use the Alien Enemies Act more broadly. This could create a climate of fear and uncertainty, making immigrants afraid to come forward. This case also raises fundamental questions about the nature of executive power. The Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act highlights the vast authority wielded by the president. The case could determine the limits of this power and whether there are adequate checks and balances in place to prevent abuse.